Hi everyone, welcome again. This video we would be completely covering company profile, which is primarily for administration and support folks. Under company profile we have company information. This company information section is very important for Salesforce administrators and Salesforce support users. The reason being, this gives you an overview of your company's details. Just like how you have user details, it has your company's name, the primary contact, division, address, fiscal year that would start in. Then it has, if you want to enable multiple currencies, you want to receive admin newsletters. The most interesting part that administrators use is about this default locale, and then it has the default time zone based on which a lot of reports that gets generated and rely on. There is also this feature of Salesforce.com organization ID. Since we know that in Salesforce everything relies on this 18-digit or 15-digit unique identifier. So this is one important thing. From this page you could deactivate a org as well. Suppose that it's a sandbox that you're not going to use anymore further from now, you could go ahead and deactivate from here. Apart from that, at a summary level you could also see the user licenses. How many total licenses are procured by your organization, how many licenses have been used, the remaining license, and when it does get expired. You could expand this list and find out for various other licenses available. So you could see in brief what licenses are available and what you could use. So that is about licenses. Then we have permission sets. Since the number of permission sets has a top limit, upper limit, so you could still come down and just have a check of how many prime permission sets you have used. Now, while selecting permission sets, you are supposed to select a license along with that. So based on that, the count comes here. For some reasons I'm not able to see the permission sets, so I would go ahead and rectify that and give you a hint why that happened in my next video. So there's something called as a featured license. Now featured license is more specific to what kind of organization that you or your client have opted for. It could be Service Cloud primarily that you might be using, or a marketing kind of a thing that you might be using Salesforce for. So based on that you would get to know all the details here, and that's about company profile. Now when I jump into fiscal year is nothing but also called as a financial year. Financial year is usually untouched in most of the scenarios. However, if you're working for a client which is specific to some countries' financial year, which varies from country to country. So suppose India, it varies from the financial year starts from April and ends in March. You could probably go ahead and set that, and in some companies they might be following their own custom financial year along by side with the country's financial year. So you could still go ahead and set a custom financial year. So that could be done. However, please to seek advice from the architect or the business heads before proceeding with these changes here. Now coming to business hours is something that we had dealt earlier with the security concept. It shows you the number of hours a particular profile that you wish to go ahead and log in and log out. This is more specific to an organization when they should be able to log in to Salesforce system. Coming to holidays, you could specify the holidays in a year, which could be the recursive. I've done one entry here. For that entry you could add the business hour respectively. Suppose it's New Year, however you want a particular set of users or Salesforce users to log in only for some amount of time, you could go ahead and specify that. Now coming to language settings. This would give you two different type of language settings available. One is an end user language, that is nothing but the records and everything that they'd be seeing, the or field names, object name, etc. would be only one amongst these languages available here, as provided by Salesforce. Then we have something called as a platform only language. There's no translation that is provided, unfortunately, for platform only languages, but the list of languages here is way too much than compared to the end user languages. Now you could go ahead and add or remove languages from this list. So this is something that an administrator usually tries it in sandbox first, and if they have a global widespread, that time they go ahead and do this option settings. Alright, continuing, we have the last option called as the data protection and privacy. This is a new feature that is being added by Salesforce. So this gives us an option, if at all you want to give access to data protection and privacy. This was majorly because of few countries having a privacy model, so that when the records are being shared across on reports, etc., should be maintained very secure. So in order to achieve this, Salesforce has come up with this option where when I could show you by searching this individual, I am not able to find any data in the setup. However, once I go ahead and edit this, make this data protection details available in records and save it, and when I quickly search for individuals again, I see that there is a object sort being created which has different fields, validation rules, triggers, etc. It's like a standard object, you could say, which could be enabled only once the data protection and privacy has been made enabled. Now the reason for this to come into existence is once you go on contacts, once I pick up any contact for that matter, so right now that individual has not been added to this. So let me quickly go ahead and add that and show you how this really works. So I go to this edit layout, I search for this particular field, add that to the page layout, quickly give that a save. Once again I go back to the contact. Alright, now I see that this is a field available. Now I go ahead and make that available on the page layout. Now you could go ahead and just look up for the users, and the most interesting part is you have to go ahead and rename this field accordingly, which becomes easy for record owners. Now being said that, this option you could add it on accounts, contacts, and other custom objects to make it more secure. So this is a new feature that is being incorporated, I could say, or brought up by Salesforce to maintain the data privacy. Alright, so we are done with this section of company profiles. So next coming up is a big concept of security controls, which we would not be really touching all the topics here. However, I would give you a brief idea on what individual topic means, just for an understanding. Thank you so much. Hope you liked it.